Hello, SpeedGaming 7. This race is someone325 versus Skele. This is their first match in the winner's bracket quarterfinals, I believe. Maybe not quarterfinals. It's the top 8. I think that's quarterfinals. The winner of this matchup, which is a doubleheader, plays Tam in the winner's semifinals. But there's also a loser's bracket. And the loser of this matchup plays the winner of Yoho and 2C. Alright, someone's ready to climb some mountains. Both starting at Link's house. And a map check showing all crystals. The one at Desert is red, but we don't really care about that. Sometimes you can read some logic based on red crystals, but it's very rare. Usually you just get the pyramid items with nothing, and if you find the mirror, it's in logic without the crystals at all. Someone taking a more retro route through this, and actually like getting there faster than Skele. Almost faster. I think both of them wanted that bomb too. Maybe if it weren't for the run back for the bomb, someone would have made it here faster. Either way, the cool thing about these glitches is you can do almost anything you want. And even if it's slower, you can still save time just by being really good at it. The mirror is always an interesting early item to get because it's a little bit more logically important if you find it before the Moon Pearl. It says hybrid major glitches lets you do a bunch of clips in the underworld that negate the need for a mirror for Swamp. And a bunch of the overworld clips negate the mirror for most of the overworld locations, but when you don't have a Moon Pearl, the mirror can be a sort of we have Moon Pearl at home replacement. Nice bomb on the bush. So someone jumping off the mountain had the opportunity to take a Houlihan route to the south, but chooses instead to go back to the Lost Woods to pick up the locations that he missed, and probably head into Kakariko. It's an interesting route. Opts for the blue mail. Blue mail can be a bit of a hindrance in the late game, but in the early game it can be very good, because you have access to a lot of dangerous locations early on. Skele's route up the mountain necessitated getting the old man while on the mountain, because otherwise he'd have to climb the mountain again. You always want to rescue the old man the first time you're up here. You don't want to have to do 2 ascents. Unless you have the flute, then you can do whatever you want. Flippers in Kakariko will make the flippers check slower for someone. It's usually faster to have water walk the whole way than to get flippers, but it's also safer to have flippers. This graveyard ledge descent is another one of those where you can do it like 5 different ways. And the best way to do it is the way that you're most comfortable with. Especially if you're going to do it twice. Once for King's Tomb and once for Graveyard Ledge. If you mirror block erase the right ones in here, you can get a clean dash into the bombable wall. Hammer's pretty important too. It's definitely a good idea to go to Kakariko at some point. I have to say that because there's people who will just put it off forever. There are benefits to putting it off, because you can get something like the bottle or the glove and make it a little bit more efficient. But there's a time and place for doing Kakariko, and that time is eventually. You should do it eventually. And that place is Kakariko Village, because it's Kakariko Village. Sometimes it's also Village of Outcasts. If you have the mirror, you can do them together, but every time I think that that's going to be good, it ends up being a million mirror transitions and probably slower than just doing them separately. So you should probably do Kakariko Village at Kakariko Village. Ooh, a hook shot. Early GT, anyone? Hammer hook shot equals GT. It's really the combination you want to have to put most of it in logic. If you're missing either of those things, then you probably only have 4 logical locations at most. But you also want to wait for something to kill Ice Armos with, and it's not in logic till you have Pearl. Yeah, these are real starting boots. Glitch modes have been starting with boots since at least 2018. Probably since they existed. Or not the boots, but the glitch modes. Because the clips that we do, they don't necessarily require boots, but they're a lot faster, and the ones without boots are not in logic, so if you don't start with boots, then you just get in no glitches seed if the boots are placed somewhere deep, and that's not fun. Skele not going to desert is a very interesting choice because the hook shot's there, but there's also a whole bunch of stuff that Skele might be able to do if he returns to desert that someone is not able to do right now, and the hook shot doesn't do much in the light world. It gives you out of logic access to top of Hera if your big key's not available. Alright, now we have the flute. See, if you do this early before Kakariko, you actually get to activate that flute and use it. But now you have to make an entire trip back just to check it. Given where the bottle is, I expect to see maybe some... Oh no, we have a bottle, so it's not going to be for Sick Kid. The flute's just probably not getting activated. You could do it in Village with the mirror if it's worth it. But it takes a long time to activate, and it's common to just activate it and never use it. Okay, so Skele having the flute opts not to do Ice Rod Cave right now. I'm assuming it's because of the flute. Because you can just activate it and then flute to 8, and then you have an active flute for the rest of the seed. And you probably get the time back if you activate it early enough. Especially if you plan on doing something like the Mirror Offset Portal Pyramid Fairy, where one of the fastest ways to get back is to use the flute. So I agree with this. I think going back for the flute when you have it now is pretty good. Also, Skele has 491 rupees, which is not 500. And it's really easy to get up to 500 doing literally anything else. And then just come back when you're ready to hit up the Zora area and Ice Rod Cave. But someone is in a different position here because someone has the hook shot and the hammer and can do Moldorm. I was not paying attention to the big key situation, but I guess we'll see if someone opens the big chest or not. He doesn't have the small key. Well, he does now, but... So it looks like big key was available. This is in logic. Oh, nice use of iframes there. Usually you see people hold out their sword and try and rail clip one pixel around the fire, but using the hookshot's interesting alternative. It's one of those things that like rando players are really good at. It's thinking with all of their items instead of just what's in NMG. Skele is taking the logical slow way up because he doesn't have hookshot. Lose a little bit of time, but not that much. Both items and the small key were available in Hera, so they don't have to worry about Hera Basement. Oh no! Skele got killed by Slow Rom. I could see that that lag messed up his muscle memory and he didn't land on the pixel. That's rough. Oh no, he doesn't have a switch on screen anymore? It's okay, just mirror out. So that's a pretty big time loss for Skele. Someone is going across the mountain in the light world. Oh no, teleports up instead of down. That's a soft lock. Soft lock's pretty common. It's a smaller time loss than falling in Hera, but it does give some time back to Skele. This is a much better spin. A lot less lag this time. Actually gets on the edge of the pixel, at the edge of the pit. Also worth noting, Swamp Palace is completely available right now, but it's not in logic. Because the logical way into Swamp is either through the front, if you get a 1 in 10 chance of small key being in the lobby, or it's through the Meyer medallion. Or rather, Meyer itself, using Meyer keys to unlock. But the Hera key is available, and we can sequence break it by using that instead. And you don't need the Moon Pearl to do it that way. I think it would be at least wise to make sure it's a crystal before you start sequence breaking Swamp, though. I also wouldn't expect Skele to go in without hookshot. It's exclusively, I can do the whole thing quickly play, not I have fighter sword and Argus is going to be very slow. So they're doing the sensible thing and staying in Sphere 1. Going across the mountain. I think Skele will have a little easier time here. Having a sword really helps on the mountain. Especially in Spiral Cave, when you're dashing through a million enemies. But someone was making use of the hookshot. And, like, didn't have to deal with that electrifying Bari. Okay, we saw Medallion and Moon Pearl in the 2 chests in Paradox Cave. If that is Meyer Medallion, then Swamp's in logic now. Which is pretty cute. The sword was in the dam. But there's also a sword here in the 5 paradox, so now someone has a sword, and Skele will have 2. And Sankheart. Someone is leaving. I can't say someone, somebody. Someone is leaving. Which means maybe we might see Hookshot Cave, Dark World. When you have the Moon Pearl, now you can just start at the mountain and do a bunch of stuff. There's a neat little route you can take where you do Hookshot Cave and then you do Catfish. Jump off the mountain, do Catfish. And then you do what's called a swim clip. That lets you use a diagonal slope to get into a clipping state and swim across the entire mountain to get to Bumper Ledge, which sounds really slow. But it's actually, I timed it, it's actually faster than Save Quit to get to Bumper Ledge. The only thing that's faster than it is using that blue potion they have to do a fake flute, which lets you basically use a bottle instead of the flute, and you can use it in the Dark World to go into any spot that the flute would take you. Skele making the same decisions, but won't be able to do Hookshot Cave unless you can hover. So this could be a bit of a disadvantage. And even if you can hover, it's pretty hard to convince yourself to do the gloveless Hookshot Cave, just for the chance of getting all 4 items slowly instead of getting them quickly. Okay, we have a map check. I saw Thieves Town and Pod as our normal pendants, and Mire as our green pendant. That means it's really good that we have the small key of Hera, because we might not do Mire at all. And the last thing you want is Mire Medallion Go mode for Swamp, and to see Mire as a pendant. Someone is having a little bit of trouble with Gloveless Hookshot Cave. Really just having trouble with hook speed. Okay, we've got it. Now we have to dash turn down. There we go. And you just hop off the bottom. Screen wraps you to the very top of the mountain, where you can access the top of Hookshot Cave. Someone is on the floating island right now and just has to find the entrance. Skele not doing Hookshot Cave. As I suggested, it's not appealing when you don't have Hookshot and don't have Glove. So we'll see if someone gets an advantage here having a Hookshot. Oh no! Alright, Skele doing the flipper checks from Catfish. Can now just do Ice Rod Cave by itself, or just do it never. Look at those 2 hearts, waiting to dunk you. And Bumpkiss and Hookshot Cave, so Skele is off the hook. For now. And on the book being dropped by Zora, Skele has both swords and can actually get the items that the book locks. Someone could potentially save time not having the sword, not having to go through an animation if it ends up being nothing. This is a good chance to do... it looks like this might actually be... Okay, it's just a more comfortable Hera clip. Probably be checking that book immediately. Someone is not going to Zora. Only has 300 rupees. Yeah, welcome raiders from SpeedGaming 5, which was streaming a spoiler log race for SG Live. These runners are cheating in a different way. They're doing major glitches. Okay, so someone is evaluating whether that 50 rupees will bring them to 500, and they won't, so he's gonna leave the book behind. But I didn't see anything good come out of Ether Tablet, so there's still one more chance for Skele to get an advantage from having that book that someone probably won't get anytime soon. Someone's best bet to get the book now would be, you know, not having done South Shore yet. You could do South Shore, Mini Moldorm Cave, and then just jump in the water and swim there. That's a hard sell. And it's still orphans. Oh no, we got itemed. You gotta watch out for those items in Haripop because you can just get your hookshot eaten by the item. Dashing through the water. Don't dash through the water. You can just dash straight down and then go into the portal and save a little time. Yeah, I keep calling them somebody. Someone is doing Swamp before he even knows if it's in logic or not. Which is pretty bold. Using an older bomb setup. It's not the oldest setup. The oldest setup is very obnoxious. It's a bunch of one-frame clips. It's funny how we kind of brought back one-frame clips in this, but the new version of the one-frame clips is a little easier. It's not nearly as many. Skele doing what looks like kind of a one-and-done style Skullwoods, where you open the map chest first and hope it's an item and leave, but what you really hope for is a key, because then you can do the front more efficiently without doing the middle. The C is for Hera. That is correct. We do know that Swamp's a crystal because both runners have checked the map. I don't think someone would be doing this if it was a pendant. Skele gets one item out of Skull. At least. Going to leave. I'm not sure if that's a gamble against the middle or if he got both items. And someone... Now this is interesting. So someone is making... taking advantage of the fact that he has Mirror. Meaning that he can walk out of Swamp and do... Actually not sure if he even used the Mirror. I think he was just routing this into South Shore. Yeah, someone is playing as Madeline from Celeste, which is a very thematic sprite to use when you are climbing mountains. Jumping on walls. Alright, he did leave a portal. That's excellent, because now he can get his sword, which is dupable, by the way. Or no, it's this sword. Not dupable. Not in this mode. This is a really clever way to get Dam and Swamp together. You don't have to stay here and do Swamp. You can do Mini Moldorm Cave and come back. Both runners choosing not to do Ice Rod Cave. So if there's something there, it's not an advantage to either of them. Meanwhile, Skele finds the powder in front of Thieves. And Thieves is a pendant. And he decides that's good enough and leaves. Someone confirming that Swamp is Mire locked because the small key is not available in the front. Actually, picking up a flute, I agree with this because he's not doing Ice Rod Cave, the flute gives him an easy way to get back, and he has the mirror so he can easily activate it while in Village. Skele already activated it. He made a similar decision, except made a very bespoke decision to activate the flute. Just went to this area just to do it, but didn't continue on to Desert. I think he's hoping for a fire source. Now I wonder if he will go into Desert using the mirror here while he's in the Mire area. There's the small key to Swamp in the roundabout room. That small key is... Once it's not placed in the lobby, it is logically insignificant. But it is convenient because it means that someone can go to the back of Swamp and then still have a key for left side if he comes back in. We don't get to get like free Specky Clip key in this because we're unlocking that door because we came in from that room. But we can get the free swamp key because we borrowed a key from another dungeon. And there was a sword. A very nice sword to find early on. If you're going to do swamp possibly out of logic, because you don't know the Mire Medallion yet, the sword can be a really good consolation prize, because you don't really care about logic for swords. You just want to have them. Someone, I don't know how you dodged that. I'm guessing it's because the sprite hitbox is a little misleading, but that was pretty cool. Oh yeah, so nice to have Tempered here. You can actually go for a 0 cycle Arcus. Doesn't quite get it, but it's still a lot faster than any Master Sword Arcus you can do. It's a fast 1 cycle. I think that was that actually a 0 cycle? It was either a fast 1 or a slow 0. I think it was a fast 1. Okay, he's very quickly checking his menu to see if he needs to go back in. Or wants to. Logic mode considers glitches. It considers a subset of the glitches that are allowed. They're going to be doing a lot of things that are allowed but not required. For example, I expect to see Skele clip into the Pyramid Fairy here. That glitch is so new that the logic doesn't consider it. This is a swim clip. You use slopes to not have collision while swimming. It's weird. Discovered last year, it's a very new glitch. You can only swim in the one direction before you leave clipping state, but you can get into entrances like this. You have to dash back in to get water walk. Skele checking to see if he has any reason to throw bottles in. He really doesn't. He has a green and a blue, which is about as much as you can hope for. I wonder if he'll use the blue for fun things. He almost went and checked the pyramid ledge, realizing he actually already looked at it while swimming. So someone might be the first person to actually look at Mire. Skele looks like he just didn't go there at all. As far as I can tell, I think he just went to K45 and mirrored to check it the normal way. Which means we don't know what... we still don't know what's required for Swamp. If someone left something in left side Swamp, which I know that there is something in there because I saw the small key and big key picked up. Is it in logic yet? $30 to get to the escape. It's actually pretty fast for a glitch mode. Just happened to work out that Skele was here with the mirror. Inverno is something you want to pick up because we often do Spike Cave on the way to Ganon's Tower. It's also the best weapon available to our runners for Ice Armos. Okay, let's pay attention to someone's side. We're going to see some Mire Medallion action. It is Ether, so not in logic for Swamp. I think that's a sigh of relief for someone, because someone wants Swamp to not be in logic. Someone went in there out of logic and found a sword, which is a big advantage if one doesn't show up for Skele. And didn't waste too much time in there. Was quite efficient clearing Swamp with South Shore and not doing left side. I wonder if we'll see hammer pegs from either runner. We will not see it from Skele. Not yet. Because Skele could have mirrored out and gone back into the portal just to swim to hammer pegs. It would have been rather slow, but he could also mirror and check Magic Bat while there. Yeah, this mode is all about slopes. Like 90% of the glitches involve slopes. Diagonal collision is very janky. I think most diagonal collision is just like kind of hacked in this game. You can literally walk through some of the walls if you are pixel perfect about it. You might see that done in the Agatu arena. Okay, Skele. Opening all 3 checks to make sure that the Dark Cross is an item and not a key. And doesn't have to worry about spending this key, because he already has a free key for Swamp from Hera. I'm a little concerned about that. Okay, that was just like... I don't know what that was. He did something that, like, paused the game, and I'm not sure what it was. It looked like a medallion use. I think it might have been Bombos. Bombos was in the Paradox Cave. Okay, Shield. Nothing good in Dark Cross. Nothing good in the Escape at all. That I can see. Totally skippable. Flute activation for someone. As predicted. Also not doing Back of Thieves. I think both runners have better things to do than Thieves. Less so for someone who doesn't have Hookshot yet. It's really waiting on that fire source for Desert. First one into Ice Rod Caves, Skele. It's just 10 arrows. If someone had the opportunity to do a clip into Hammer Pigs from here, but is choosing not to. And instead going to just do Magic Bat. So Hammer Pig's untouched by both runners, just like Ice Rod Cave was. Maybe Hammer Pigs can be saved for Back of Thieves Town later on. So Skele is maybe going to Desert Mire area, because he has already been here. And doesn't really have anywhere else to go except this. Let's look at him Hookshot and maybe guide him towards Swamp if he chooses to sequence break it. Because he knows, well, he'll know by then that it's out of logic. But Ganon's Tower is also very open for both runners. I think I would be tempted to go into GT by now. I believe someone is the one who hasn't been to Skull yet, starting in the middle, which we didn't see from Skele. Skele gets Mire info. A very crucial moment for Skele here is he's going to pull out his mirror and get his hookshot out of Desert. I think he will, because there's also Checkerboard Cave available. And Bombo's Tablet, which is... Bombo's Tablet's a spicy location for Skele, because someone didn't have Zora money when he was there. Did not get the book. The glitch with hookshot screen wrapping. That sounds like something that's allowed. Most of the glitches in the overworld are allowed. Also, like, a lot of those, like, that sounds like something that's in logic, too. Oh, okay, so both items were in the front. Red rupee here, and then there's a heart container in the big chest, which someone will get next. Behind this big key. So Skele saved time not going to the middle. Someone at Bumper Ledge taking the opportunity, I think, to check Lumberjack. We saw this on Skele's side. It wasn't anything. Maybe just 10 arrows or heart piece. Heart piece. I expect to see... Well, I expected to see GT, but someone is not going there yet. Oh, the Cane of Samaria behind the book! That is huge for Skele. That book is on Zora and someone doesn't have it. If someone is... Unless someone is a master hoverer, I think he will have to get there eventually. Now this is interesting. This is Ice Palace for someone. What is Ice Palace looking like for us? It is only in logic with the mitts, but most runners will ignore that and just do it when they have the ability. But someone does not have the Cane of Samaria, which is a big time save in ice. Like, full clearing ice with Icebreaker is significantly faster. Oh, this clip with a short sprite terrifies me. Because if you go too high, you hard lock. But someone would be fine because it would not lose any progress. So Skele now going to Swamp Palace. I'd expect to see Skele not spend too much time in here because he has the knowledge that it's out of logic to do this. Once he gets the lobby chest and knows it's not a key, he'll know that he doesn't have to do this. So someone is going to Pingator Room first. When you have Ice Palace Bomb Jump route, you have a couple options. If you want to get to Pingator Room first, I think you do want to go in from the front, like this, and not do the clip. But you can also just skip it and do it last if it's an item, and hope it's not the big key. And then you get a very fast IPBJ because you clip straight into the bombable floor room and puts you right there at the risk of leaving something behind in Pingator. Now I wonder if Skele will also go here. With the Cane of Samaria, that is pretty tempting. Doesn't get much faster than this. I mean, you can save a little time having Fire Rod instead of Bombos. Skele will have the Tempered Sword by then. Someone trying to go for some damage boost strats from NMG, but doesn't quite make it. Putting him a little bit low on HP, but has, I think, one of every potion. Now, what would be really huge for someone would be to mirror outside of Ice Palace and pick up Zora from there. It would be a little bit out of the way. It would be kind of something you do as like, oh, this is haunting me. I have to pick this up. I can't leave this behind. I don't know what someone's mindset is regarding checks like that. I know people who will just leave it behind forever and say, well, if it's there, I'm dead. People who will say, if I leave something there, I won't stop thinking about it, and I need to get it just to focus. People thinking, you know, I want to be as thorough as possible because I don't want to lose because of a location like that. You could also be thinking my opponent will also skip it because money was scarce in this seed. So getting it now is not necessarily admitting defeat because I think my opponent might also be putting it off. I guess the moral of the story is you don't know what your opponent is doing. So just do what feels right. This is a good opportunity to get a fairy. There we go. Now, just because, you know, if someone gets the book, that's only one step towards getting Cane. He does have to go back to Bomba's tablet to get the cane itself. Someone's showing us some rooms that we probably won't see on Skele's side. Big key for Skele. Also a very nice fast one for Skele. And Shovel is in Ice Palace. What would Shovel do for someone? Shovel could encourage someone to return to Bomba's tablet if he gets the book. And at some point a fire source will show up. Hopefully not behind the cane. And that could also lead someone back to that area. So Skele, I'm assuming Skele is also going to ice. But, so you would think, well, Skele could just run out of swamp and go to ice, which is true. You run out of swamp and, you know, you risk hard locking. So saving and quitting is a good way to prevent that from losing you too much time if it were to happen. I like the crow in this victory sprite. Very nice. So Skele's a little spooked by this, but you know, he saved and quit, so he has. It should be fine to just play around. If he hard locks, it's not really a big deal. I almost wonder if he's pulling up a guide. Like, where do I stand? He's too high. But he can get back up. Yeah, he doesn't seem to know the setup. But the good thing is you can just get anywhere on that slope. And you'll get there. You just have to line up the slope manually. Someone is checking the shovel immediately, which is going to make it harder to get to Bomba's tablet, but also when you have the flute, it doesn't matter. You just flute to 7 and do it. Also picking up what looks like Ice Rod Cave. This is an opportunity to do Zora, but again, it's so hard to do anything. It's so hard to do Zora when you've orphaned it. It's far away from everything. So Skele giving up on this attack, maybe. Oh, this is a save and quit for someone. This is not Zora. It's getting harder and harder to contrive ways for someone to get to that location. This looks like it might be some escape cleanup for someone. Skele has given up on Ice Palace and is going to GT instead. Which I think is smart. If Skele is not versed in the mirror wrap for ice, which is out of logic, he could hope to get the mitts instead and have a much easier time. Alright, they are meeting up. Oh no, someone gets a yeet to softlock. Skele has one more check he can do. He can do tile room. And if Fire Rod shows up, you can do the whole thing. Thinking about Tile Room, it saves and quits, or mirrors out. I also don't think someone did Spike Cave on the way down. And is choosing not to, just hard skipping it. Okay, this is no longer GT, this is actually now Pyramid Fairy. So, if someone watches this back, PSA, you don't need to fix your camera to use the flute. You can just use the flute while screen wrapped. One of the ways flute saves time is not having to go into the old man cave. Skele trying very hard to get that fairy. I think the magic would actually have been better because of the Burna Armos that might be coming up. Okay, Skele finds a fire source. The lamp is in the map room. That's huge. What this means, though, is that waiting for a fire source to do desert area would have been unwise. Because you get... or at least would have been not beneficial, because while you can get that without hookshot, you probably won't. We don't know where the other fire is yet, but it could be behind fire. That could be a hard required lamp. Mushroom. Another reason to have an active flute is turning in the mushroom is so much better when you have a flute. I'll activate the flute in almost any seed where I'm turning in a mushroom. Even if I can technically save time by doing it from Eastern or something, it's just so much nicer. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying that potentially there's a Firelock GT key. I'm not sure if that's true yet. We do need all 4 keys to get that lamp, logically, so if there's a key upstairs, that means that the fire rod won't be in a dark room. Or anywhere else behind fire. So that's good logic to read. Oh, you're just making silly observations, but you accidentally made a really good point, which is that we should be paying attention to the location of GT small keys. Pile room for Skele could turn up something big. Like the big key. I think we got the big key. Because I saw Skele going for big chest. Okay, so the mitts are, I would say they're really good for Skele, but not necessarily important. Skele seems to really want those for Ice, because of his trouble with Mirror Wrap. But we saw that Ice didn't actually turn up anything for someone, so maybe he would have been better off not finding those and having a go mode Ice Palace instead. Skele, wow, going for Mimic Clip. I love seeing the Mimic come back in the room, that's pretty cool. Once the doors are open, they stay open, so you don't have to worry too much about that. These are some really nice Mimic Clips for Skele. Definitely saving time over reclimbing. You have to be pretty good at Mimic Clip to save time over just double dipping GT. The only way double dipping GT would still be faster is if you're doing it last, because double dipping GT is faster than I think any other way to get to Ganon. Yeah, I didn't notice my medallion too. That was found in GT. Which means Swamp is in Logic. Both of them left something behind there, I think. Well, I know something is in Swamp, because I saw a small key and big key. The fastest way to return would probably just be to clip in through Hera. Use the Hera Big to open the big chest. And hope that the item is there. So Skele is sequence breaking a bow, but in the sea where you're looking for the rods, then you don't really care about sequence breaks for Ice Rod. Like, what are the odds that your bow is just on Trinex, right? So, if you can pull it off, it's a good play. Someone is also in GT, and found the lamp, which is a fire source that will pull him even farther away from Zora. Coming up here with Skele, we have a few more rooms left before we have to start paying attention to the chests and whether there are small keys inside. But if there is a small key inside, then we have a fire rod locked lamp. Because we needed some form of fire to get up here. But if there's a key up here, then that key is locking the lamp. So we were supposed to double dip GT to get the lamp. But if all 4 keys were found downstairs, then there's no worry about fire logic. And you don't really get to narrow down locations for the fire rod. Yeah, I saw 2 heart containers. I think we actually, if anybody was counting keys, we know if there's a key up here or not. Because we know that the key's not in Compass Room. There is a key up here, so that's a fire rod locked lamp. Incredible. I hope Skele gets to use that information to their advantage. And also someone can just count keys and know if there's a key up here or not. Doesn't actually have to Mimic Clip to get this info. I have to because I wasn't paying attention, but if he's paying attention, he doesn't have to. Another map check. This time, not map check, but the menu check. I think Skele looking for, to see how valuable the Compass Room is, in case he finds a fire rod before Ice Rod or bow. There's also something to be said for, I think you need all 4 keys to get to the compass side, if the big key isn't there. And one of the keys is bow locked. So Skele might think that bow is unlikely to be there, and might not return. Someone is also climbing. So let's look at someone's Mimic Clips and see how they compare to reclimbing later on. Okay, we're going for the, sort of like the mirror strat. using the block. It's a lot fewer one-framers than you have to do in the wall. So Skele now using the mitts to get to ice. This is now in logic for Skele. Oh, loses 1 minute. It's hard to do it when you have two out of sync with one another, because you have to do the clip twice. So Skele definitely saved time in this room over someone. And the next clip, we'll see how that goes. Is this going to be buffered or unbuffered? It is buffered with menus, which is pretty slow, but if you can pull it off, it's still, you know, you can get it pretty quickly. It's 8, you have to do it 8 times. The menu buffer doesn't risk saving and quitting out by accident. Alright, successful mimic clip for someone. We'll have GT done as well. So while these runners are retracing their steps, do give them a follow. There's still more tournament left to go. They are in the winner's bracket, which means even if they lose this double header, they will still be racing the winner of This Is Not Yoho and 2C. If you want to see more of them, give them a follow. Yesterday we had a lot of really close races that did not get SpeedGaming restreams, and the only way you can know about those is to go to the schedule and see who's running and watch them yourself and follow them. Oh, someone having a bit of a harder time in Wizrobes. Normally the alternative to Samaria Wizrobes is Bow Wizrobes. Someone doesn't have either of those, so has to improvise. Gold Stair for Skele shouldn't be too hard. Butter Sword, Bombas, Red Mail. You can just slash 3 times after the spin and they're dead. Don't even need to be fancy about it. The hard part is getting the spin time when you have Bombos instead of Fire Rod. And that is a crystal for Skele. 2 heart containers for someone in the top of GT, followed by a small key. Again, should be cluing in to someone that the bow is fire locked. Or the bow is not going to... Well, the first bow is not going to be in the firelock side of GT. And the lamp that he got is out of logic, because there's a key upstairs locking it. So he does not need to look into any fire-locked or lamp-locked locations for the fire rod, but still needs to look for the Samaria and the bow. It might be a little harder for someone to get an advantage from that knowledge than for Skele, who's only looking for the ice rod, fire rod, and bow. So what is this for Skele? Is Skele the one who didn't do Hookshot Cave? This could be Hookshot Cave, TR, Mimic Cave. I think Hookshot Cave into Mimic Cave would be a good play here. Given that he's going this way, I expect to see maybe Turtle Rock opened from the front as well. There's a bit of a meta developing of not just backdooring TR every time, but trying to get the big key out of the front. So that could save time. Backtracking through TR is pretty slow. And having an open front of TR, if you know how to get from TR to Skull Woods, you can get to Skull Woods very quickly after cleaning up Trinex. But he does not have that opportunity because it is Quake to open TR. We looked into the logic and found that the TR medallion is actually logically significant more times than it is not. So if you care about the TR medallion, usually because it's the same as the Meyer medallion, it is worth checking that. Someone is hardlocking. What did he do? Trying to think of what he was trying to do there. I think he's saved and quit, so I hope he saved and quit. He might have fluted. I would love to see if someone was paying attention. Did he save and quit after Ganon's tower? Oh no. Please tell me he did. I think he's going to pod, but he loved to screen wrap by accident, or maybe on purpose. If you screen wrap yourself and don't fix your camera, you cannot go left on the top half of the screen without hard locking. You have to go all the way to the bottom, because the top half of the screen has a bad transition on it that you can't see. So if we don't know whether someone lost all of GT or not, we'll see if the lamp cone exists in the dark rooms. Actually, I think someone is fine because he has the sword that was in GT. So he did save and quit. No time lost except for the soft lock. So someone is not behind by an entire GT. Yeah, the sword gives it away for us. So Skele actually found a bow, and I missed where it was, but it would have been Mimic Cave or TR. One of the two. Because we already saw Hookshot Cave. So it was Mimic Cave, so that is in logic. Someone opting to do a potion glitch to get Mimics off screen here. Pendant Pod having something could be very good for someone. Unless it's Palmasaur. Skele doing what I would say is the obvious thing to do, which is follow the bow, clean up Eastern Palace, and hope that you find one of the Fire Rod or Ice Rod there. As we recall, the Fire Rod will not be lamp locked in here. But the Ice Rod can be, so Skele will have to do the whole thing. That's 2 items for Skele already. Ooh, Skele has the opportunity to get a God Eastern. Oh, and that's an Ice Rod in the pod big chest. Now it's a question of how long it will take Skele to get to Pendant Pod. The Ice Rod could be pretty tricky to find. And Skele is not a gambler for Eastern Palace. This is a 50-50 of being the compass or the item. It is the item, but it's not the Fire Rod. Or the Ice Rod, but we know where the Ice Rod is. Someone mirroring out might be going to Eastern. And also, I don't think we've seen Saha's Closet from either runner. There could be something just sitting there the whole time. When you find that, you don't feel ahead at all. Someone... Yeah. I was thinking someone might go to Eastern, but with Saha still open, I think you just leave. And it is absolutely nothing here. But he's walking out. What could this be? Could be back to Eastern. Could be a mushroom turn-in. It's not a mushroom turn-in. It is back to Eastern. Someone will get all 3 items and leave. Because the bow isn't here. So someone will be behind by a double dip Eastern. This is a lead that is widening for Skele, but potentially tempered by the fact that someone found Ice Rod and Pendant Pod. So that wild card is how long will it take Skele to get there? How much will he do before then? And the other wild card is we still don't know where the Fire Rod is. Skele will feel very good about getting to do Eastern and Saha together and not being punished by skipping Saha early on. So what is next? This looks like maybe a return to village. This could be Back of Thieves. This could be Smith Chain. Why are we going this way? We are checking Pedestal. Now what can be on Pedestal for Skele? Given the key logic of GT, it's not going to be Fire Rod. But it could still be Ice Rod for Skele. So I don't expect to see anything here that we care about. Just 3 bombs. Yeah, Fire Rod was... Though the reason it can't be Fire Rod is because the lamp is Fire Rod locked. Because there's a key at the top of GT, and the chest that had the lamp is locked by 4 GT small keys. Which means that the lamp is Fire Rod locked. And one of our pendants is Pod and one of them is Meyer, so those both require lamp for the boss. But both runners are also missing something that the other one has that could be anywhere. There's nothing stopping the cane from being there except that we know where it is. So if Skele can get something from the Smith Chain, that could also be pretty big because the mitts were locked by the cane. And while you can skip them for Smith, most players will choose not to because it's slow and it's out of logic. Is this our first mushroom turn-in? Someone is turning in the mushroom. And that was found pretty long ago. It's half magic. It's the second time I've seen half magic on a mushroom in 2 days. Skele has turned it in, has half magic. I can see it now. And the fire rod's on the smith, so that is it's a tile room fire rod with extra steps. So unless someone gets real fancy with Mitzless Smith, that could be very hard to get. Now Skele has a lot of stuff to do that isn't Pendant Pod, and that could give time for someone to get back. What is someone doing? Spike Cave. But it's not Spike Cave into GT because there's nothing someone can do in GT that he hasn't already done. So it's just Spike Cave. Someone is getting down to the dregs of the seed. He's missing out on enough stuff that one-off locations are starting to look appealing. Now Skele is checking purple chest. So this is one of the many things Skele can do that isn't Pendant Pod. We are in no mode. We know that the fire rod is on the smith, the bow is in Mimic Cave, and the ice rod is in Pendant Pod. And Cane of Samaria is behind the book on Zora. This looks good for someone. This looks like it might be a Zora play. And I think when you're here this late and you find the book, you follow it right away. You're not going to get this and go somewhere else. The only thing I could think of is someone goes to Swamp and then leaves Swamp and does it, but I don't think there's really any benefit to doing that. So Skele is following the fire rod, and the cane back to GT, where we know the ice rod is not. There's a lot of places the ice rod is not that Skele can go, so someone still has a chance to come back here. But he has to go back to GT, or has to do some really fancy stuff with the smith. There is something on left side swamp, or in the big chest, and it is trash. It could be a bow. Someone doesn't have the Mimic Cave bow yet, so you know that could still matter. Could give someone a Silver's advantage, or a Gomo TR advantage, potentially. Now here's Cane of Samaria coming up for someone. Maybe Cane of Samaria will get someone back to GT, but really hard to do that without Fire Rod. And look at this, we have its silver arrows in Compass Room. Now I think that is indeed the silvers and not the first bow, because there was a small key upstairs in GT, and Compass Room is locked by 4 small keys if the big key isn't there. It does mean that there's nothing left that can be in Left Side Swamp that benefits someone. Or Skele, for that matter. Skele is on a true Ice Rod hunt. But he's going to Pod. So this is going to be Gomo for Skele very soon. Someone has quite a bit of catching up to do. He has 2 places he can go from here. One of them leads to the bow, and one of them leads to the fire rod. He's going towards the bow, which is fine, because he can just do Eastern. He has to do Eastern. But it is going to be quite... even if he were to beeline both items, I think Skele has a pretty significant lead now. So all he has to do is clean up Desert, clean up Turtle Rock, and clean up Skullwoods once he gets this Ice Rod. If Skele were to magically get all the items immediately, he would have to... oh, he found Hookshot Cave, that's cool. Oh no, he found this one. Skele still, or someone still has to do Eastern and Smith and Tile Room GT. Or just Smith if he gets fancy. Yeah, the glitches are very fun. It really makes last locationing feel better. You can do it with style. So, as a reminder, this is game 1 in a best of 3. In the upper bracket, the winner's bracket, so the loser of this best of 3 drops into the lower bracket to play the winner of This Is Not Yo-Ho and 2C. And the winner of this best of 3 plays Tam in the winner's bracket semifinals. The second game of this doubleheader will be following this one with Rob J. Beasley as comms and other Tom doing double duty on tracking. So give Tom a follow because he is tracking both of these races in a row. And someone gets his bow, probably will be doing Eastern next. So that's the sensible thing to do. This is actually, I'm wondering if someone would have been better off not mimic clipping GT. Now he doesn't know this, but if he had a reason to go back to GT following that bow, he would also have a reason to do tile room while there. But now he has very little reason to go back. Except, I think he's just gonna do it. Well, this is pretty interesting. Nope, he's not doing it. What is he doing? What does he have in this area? Maybe just hoping to find a laser bridge, but that's... Fire on a laser bridge is a very rare location. And by now he should know whether it can be in logic or not. He doesn't have a key. I don't think laser bridge can be in logic for fire rod. Meanwhile, Skele's in go mode, cleaning up desert. This race really did come down to that Zora play, with Skele having the money for it, and someone not having the money. I'm not sure how Skele got the money, because he was there first. And I don't think either runner hula-hand. So there must have been a 300 somewhere that Skele picked up. Rock riding with the 300 and well, both of them went to CAC. But Skele didn't do desert area. And missed out on the hookshot for a while, but that ended up not mattering very much because nothing was behind the hookshot except one sword and swamp. So the logical progression in this seed was you go to Zora, get your cane, go to GT, get your mitts, and leave GT, get your fire rod from the smith, go back to GT to get your lamp. Skele did not have the opportunity to open front of TR because it was Quake. So we won't be seeing Scudge Woods, which is a shame. Well, we could, if you mirror twice. We mirror and you use the portal to get back in the Dark World, but compared to just having the mids and fluting to 3, it's probably not saving time. And if you map wrap to Skullwoods from TR, you risk hard locking your game. So the late CAC from Skele gave him money to reach 500 after CAC. Okay. Because both of them are pretty late to Zora. And so in fact, Skele left South Shore with like 490 rupees. And chose not to continue that route into Ice Rod Cave, which could have left him short. But I think both runners went to CAC before Zora, so I don't think CAC routing mattered. Skele seems to be aware that he has enough keys. I'm not actually sure that's true. Because I don't know if Skele already spent the key going from Chain Chomps to the front. It's possible to get to the big key with 0 keys in your hand and then have to go back for that crystal roller room key that he left behind. Someone's going back to TR. Going to be checking Helmosaur. This is a logic misread, or just not noticing that the lamp was 4 key locked. I mean, it's a lot to notice when you're playing. Sometimes you just find something there and you're like, yeah, I have hammer and hookshot, this isn't logic. Not really thinking about the fact that it's 4 key locked at that point. Very easy to miss. But Fire Rod cannot be here. Someone is also checking real quick that this is actually an item. This is the 3rd time you've seen someone check their menu. I'm a fan. It's better than just hoping. It takes less than a second to check your menu. It takes minutes to go here. The Skele will be okay with keys because he'll get his big key here. And there will probably be a small key next to it. Probably. I'm not counting. No, it's a map! Oh, he's coming here just for the key. See, this is why you get Crystal Roller Key. You do not want to be in a situation where you're getting Roller Room instead. That was like a 10-second key. And he turned it into a 1-minute key. What pushed Skele to Zora? Skele and someone both descended to Catfish. Very similar times. And one of them had the money and one of them didn't, and that's what made the difference. Someone even considered, like, there was money on Zora Ledge. Is that going to get me to 500? And if it did, he would have gotten it. I saw him looking. Did a bit of a double take there, did some quick math in his head, and decided 50 rupees not enough. And missed out on the book for it. So I guess someone is in pod because this routes into Eastern. He's thinking, I'm behind. I need to get something out of this. Because if it's just sitting in Eastern, you could have had that Mimic Cave a long time ago. Mirror and Hammer were available very early. So this is the map wrap to Skullwoods I was alluding to. Very important that Skele does not get moved to the right in any way until he's inside. So he can only go left here. If he overshoots that door and gets nudged backwards, he would hardlock his game. That's why he's tiptoeing. Very comfortable 2 keys for back of skull. Means you don't have to kill the mummy. You can save a little time in the back, a little bit of risk. And that is crystal number 7 for Skele. The fastest way to get to Ganon. It might just be fluting, but the most fun way to get there is to run out of Skull Woods and clip straight to the Ganon hole from where Dark Sanctuary is. But I think fluting's faster. And it's a lot safer. If you fall in the hole wrong, you'll get Houlihan, and you'll have to start over. There's Eastern for someone. What does someone have left? Someone has Desert, Cleanup, which may or may not be an item. It's definitely not the Fire Rod. And I think someone may have done enough of Turtle Rock to know if Fire Rod can be there or not. Actually, someone just did all of TR, so we know it's not there. He knows it's not there. So what is this? This could be a return to Swamp, or it could be a return to GT. So where was Ether? I thought Ether was in GT. But this is tile room for someone. It's not the Fire Rod, but it's the right direction. It was GT Big Chest, okay. I wonder if, did someone just not get that? And just mirror out? Oh, what are we doing? Someone, Fire Rod's not going to be here. Yeah, think. Okay, you got it, you got it. You could get silver arrows if you want. We got 19 hearts on someone's side, really thoroughly clearing this game. But Skele is in Ganon Phase 4 already, and setting up for a triple to finish this off. So that is game 1 out of 3 for Skele. Game 2 will be following immediately after this one, maybe with some break in between. Do not touch that dial, because the next race will be on this very channel, and someone will be fighting for game 3. So where is someone going? Back to... Okay, so this might be someone cleaning up the big chest and thinking, oh, I'll just go via the right side, and then realize I don't have Fire Rod, and that's hard to do and annoying. I can just go to the left side instead. Probably wasn't expecting to see Mitts in Tile Room. So not thinking, oh, I need to follow those immediately, but thinking, if it's there, I'm dead, so I need to get the big chest instead. So we can get a very quick interview in for game 1. We are joined by Skele. We'll keep this one quick because game 2 is following, but someone did choose to forfeit after finding that ether, because what do you want to do? You got to do Pendant Mire and Smith Chain. Your opponent's already finished, so that is how did that feel, Skele? Did you feel behind or ahead? There was a lot going on in that sea that could have been, you know, in your favor or not in your favor, and enough that it's kind of hard to know if you're ahead or not.
Yeah, I thought it was going okay. Toward the end, it felt like kind of a crapshoot. I mean, I thought Pendant Pod was clearly better than my other options, but like, Ice Rod could have been in Back of Thieves. It could have been in Mire or something like that.
Be anywhere it wants.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there were like a couple things that I kind of felt bad about. Like I couldn't remember how to mirror wrap in Ice Palace, so wasted a little bit of time just like doing nothing there, and kind of annoying Fall and Hera. But like for the most part, I thought it went okay.
It was definitely I don't think you could have predicted that the thing that made the difference was Zora, having money for Zora when you're at Catfish, because that book led to Kane, and Kane led to Mitz, and Mitz led to Fire Rod.
Oh, I forgot the book was even there.
Yeah, you
Okay.
you have the book and you're just thinking, oh, I have the book, I'm gonna check it, but easy to forget, like, oh, that was at Zora, and you can miss that very easily. So someone, I did notice that you were doing some firelock checks looking for that fire rod, but there was a little bit of a logic read you can do. Easy to miss, but the lamp was 4-key locked in GT, and there was a key upstairs. But again, like, it's easy for me to say because I'm just a commentator. I'm not actually playing.
Yeah, I'm not paying too much attention to the key logic in GT.
I didn't realize that either.
It was pretty funny. And it didn't matter for Skele because Ice Rod Go mode just doesn't.
Right.
You can't read logic when you're in Ice Rod Go mode.
Yeah, I found the Ice Rod. Did I find the Ice Rod first but I didn't have Fire Rod? Sounds like something that would happen.
Normally that's a good thing. The Fire Rod is pretty deep. It's more spheres than we usually see. So game 2 is coming up. When will you be starting that? Is that going to happen immediately, or are you going to give us a little bit of a breather, or yourselves?
I mean, I'm ready whenever, but someone, if you want to take a break, that's fine too.
Yeah, we can take a 15-minute break or something.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So we will be ending this episode. Stay tuned for Rob J. Beasley taking that one. And good luck.